This is Leisha Holmes, and I'm your host on the Recruitment podcast. And I'm really excited for me to get to know this week's next guest, but also for you, our global community as well, because it's somebody that I think my business partner, Laura Dutton, knows quite well. But I'm really excited to get to know a little bit more about her prolific career in the recruitment industry. So this is Sarah Selisko, and she's head of people at 11 Investments and Recruiter Labs, and joins us from a very nice looking office today, but I believe with a fan. As we record this in the summer of 2023, we're having a late splurt of summer. Welcome.
It is warm.
It is warm. Welcome to you today, Sarah. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. And I'm also very excited because officially Sarah is popping her podcast cherry on our show, which makes me so proud.
First time.
Well, first of many, I'm sure, because as soon as people see you on our community, they're going to be booking you on, because there are so many amazing podcasts out there. And I do actually say that in one of the messages that we share in the podcast, that, you know, I just feel so privileged that anyone even clicks to listen, because there's such amazing, it's just a brilliant forum, isn't it? We were saying this offline that, you know, to learn about our industry, you can click on so many different shows now. So thank you for choosing us. So I don't know much about you yet. Tell us a little bit about you, your journey, and then about the businesses that you are head of.
Yeah, so I've been in recruitment probably about 13 years. Fell into it like most people do. Came out of uni, debts, needed to make some money, and apparently there's a career you can make for yourself where you literally just spend all day talking to people, which was perfect for me. So yeah, fell into tech recruitment. Didn't do that for very long. Tech wasn't a market that I particularly resonated with. Found myself in sales recruitment, and subsequently 3 different recruitment businesses over the last 10 years. Very different from your sort of big corporate S3 to Salt, which was about 50 people when I joined, about 300 at sort of point where I left. And yeah, now 11, which was about 40 people when I joined. We're sitting at about 100 heads now across the group. And what 11 Investments is a discipline-specific group of recruitment companies. So 11 Investments is the recruitment investment incubator. Your listeners, or you might know Joe, Charlie and Andy, who set up 3Search, which was their original business back in 2014. Grew that fairly quickly, had a bit of a platform, and also desire to sort of help people to be able to build their own businesses, because it's hard. It's really hard to build your own thing. It's really hard to scale your own thing. It's incredibly rare for someone to have all the skills they need and be a master of all those skills to be able to do that. So yeah, Joe, Charlie, and Andy put their sort of success of being able to scale something down to being very different human beings with very different skill sets. And yeah, subsequently investing in people who are also very different and with very different skill sets to make a group of recruitment companies. So yeah, as of this week, which is the beginning of September, we are now 7 businesses. As I said, discipline focused. So marketing, sales, finance, consulting, real estate, property management. And yeah, all together in the same office in Soho, share clients, cross-sell across the group, culture, all that sort of stuff is consistent across all of the businesses, which is great for people to join, because you get the benefits of being part of a boutique specialist recruitment company, but then all the infrastructure of being a 100-person business with a head of training, employer branding specialist, someone to do all your recruitment for you, someone to basically run your ops. So for people then that we invest in, it's a really great plug and play. We've built our culture over time. Obviously, we're continuing to evolve as the market continues to evolve. But yeah, it's basically, come in.
Plug and play. That's your new strap line. Did you know that, guys? No, I love that, and I like that your journey, you know, right from falling into it, which all the best people do, by the way, all the way through to where you are now, and you're speaking to those who are the high performers who probably recognise within themselves that they've got what it takes to maybe go and run their own business, but maybe aren't sure, like you say, of all the different facets. That it's not just recruiting, it's all the other things, but you are there to incubate. And I think that's a really unique proposition to the market, clearly. I mean, you've obviously been in the industry long enough to see that, you know, 2023, as we record this now, we're coming towards the end of it. And probably as you're listening now, we might have even just said goodbye to it. It has been a much more challenging year than maybe a lot of our listeners have ever experienced, you know, certainly if we think about the peaks of 2022 and even 2021 to an extent. So, but there's also been, I think, a lot of, I mean, I don't actually know what the stats are on the number of startups, but I know that I can see a significant number of people that are starting up. So what are you observing in terms of people actually going for it? And then where do you see the prediction in terms of volume of people that are actually going to follow their dream and set up on their own?
Yeah, definitely. It has been an increase this year. And you kind of see this when markets are tougher. You saw it in 2020. Lots of people by circumstance, there weren't the right opportunities for them, not senior enough. People working from home probably for the first time. And we realised they could actually do it by themselves. So in a tougher market, you see more people give it a punt. You also see people slightly more cautious to do it. But from what we've seen from both 11 Investments, the investment conversations that we're having to be part of the group, but also with our sister business, Recruiter Labs, a real sharp increase in people looking to go out there and do your own thing ultimately. So really positive in terms of that. It has been a tough market, some markets more than others, but seeing lots of green shoots, and especially over the last sort of 2 months or so, a real uptick in work in all of the markets that we cover. So really positive signs for what we go into in 2024. You're seeing a lot more businesses want to bolster, both from a client perspective, but also from a recruitment internal perspective, bolster their teams and go into 2024 really strong with the right people in the right places.
And it's about, I think, if I'm listening to everything that you're saying there from a holistic point of view, it's about opportunity, isn't it? And I think that opportunity it's really cheesy, but it does favour the brave and those who see that, like you say, I love that you contextualise 2020. And the reason that more people just went for it is because they had nothing to lose. They were at home anyway. They probably felt that they were a bit isolated. Maybe they were using the time off furlough to think, do you know what, maybe I could just go and set up on my own. And I think that's where you do tend to see some incredible brands. Some of the most famous high street brands have set up in really challenging economic times because they've got that sense of fearlessness, possibly. But I do think that, we have gone through a very tumultuous period because it's been out of our control, the cost of living crisis, which has impacted everybody. But I think recruitment generally as an industry, you've been in it long enough to see it, to corroborate what I'm saying here. We always go in cycles, right? And some markets work in different cycles too. So
2022, you'd love a delivery specialist, and now you really need to be able to win some work.
That actually, I know that you maybe said that a bit sort of flippantly, but I think actually that's a really good thing that I want to just focus on there before we move on to the next point, in that, do you see us moving back into that 180 delivery need at any time soon?
It's really hard to get it right. I guess I haven't been in businesses where we've had that sort of model, and you see it in the US done in some situations really, really well. I worked previously with a sort of a double act. One did the BD, one did delivery. They split everything 50-50 and they worked absolutely in perfect harmony, and it was great. But sometimes you can lose that control over things. So I've never been in an environment where it's been completely split. We might have people whose strengths are in business development, but we haven't worked in that sort of split favour. But it was really that sort of change from coming out of COVID, where people needed to be able to win work, to straight away that not being the best thing because everyone was drowning in work. And that transition of market was probably much quicker than anyone probably would have ever imagined.
I think that we all thought COVID, it would all fall off a cliff, and it didn't. And then actually the cliff happened in 2023.
And I feel bad for the industry, of people that have entered the industry in the last couple of years, because it has been incredibly tough. People that joined in late 2021, early 2022, this is a completely different job to the one you signed up for. And you will see a lot of fallout from that. Business development is hard. This is probably one of the harder markets that I've seen for winning work. Especially when it's coupled alongside such a great year, so buoyant, you couldn't move for falling over some jobs. So
it's true, and it's most markets are saturated or at the point where, how do you stand out doing business development? How do you stand out? I'm interested just to say, I just want to go back on that sort of perfect duo where you have this person doing the BD and this person doing that's actually how I started my recruitment career. It's actually how I met my second husband. He was doing the BD, and we were this perfect team. In all seriousness, we were this perfect team, but our harmony on a professional context was quite unique. And I think that the difficulty if you are thinking about this as a business owner, in terms of encouraging the 180 model, I think you should have both. I think you should always have room for 360 and room for 180. The risk you have, and actually this is going to kind of contradict going to be my next question to you about creating entrepreneurs, is that you then have two people who are basically running a business who might then go, let's just go and do it ourselves. Hi. That's basically I think that's the risk, isn't it? But then I guess that's always the risk with 360, that you've got all the intellectual property in your mind.
And it's why I'm surprised more businesses don't do a similar thing to 11 Investments. I'm obviously glad that they don't. But yeah, have a platform. You know, Joe, Charlie, and Andy, and the founders of the individual businesses here all had appetite to do their own thing. It's quite a common thing in the industry. I think, yeah, most people at some point in their recruitment career will at least think about it. Oh, I've thought about it. But yeah, as I mentioned earlier, it's incredibly rare to have all the right skills to be able to do it, and that infrastructure to be able to make a real go of it. But yeah, there's lots of businesses now that can help you to do that. And yeah, we don't want it to be off the cards for the people that work for the 11 Investments businesses. You know, if people want to do that, let's support them in the best way that we can. One of our more recent businesses, Tarka, was a guy who previously worked for Freesearch. So yeah, he had better profiles. He obviously had all of his clients, his desk, his resourcer, all that sort of good stuff. And yeah, built a brand around him. And now that's a business of about 16 people, UK
wow,
and
US, that's fantastic. So proof's in the pudding, isn't it? So focusing on that then, do you think that there are specific traits that a future entrepreneur should have or must have in order to be successful as a recruitment business owner?
Yeah, I think the natural stuff that makes you a successful recruiter, right? That discipline and that consistency to do the job. You haven't got the comfort blanket of a salary to keep you going. So you have to be able to work hard. And what we've seen from people, both independently through Recruiter Labs and obviously here, is they tend to bill more than they did when they were employed for, you know, all kinds of reasons. But, you know,
why do you think that is? Because actually a lot of people might go, really? I would bill more, but doing it for myself. So why do you think that is?
Yeah, it's yours. You're doing it in your own way. You care. You're building it. If you don't make any money, you don't have any money.
Yeah.
So there's a real need to make it a success. And like obviously there's part of that in building a recruitment desk, but yeah, you have got that security. So yeah, we've noticed I think it's around 85% of our Recruiter Labs customers actually bill more than they did when they were employed.
I love that stat. That is absolutely phenomenal. Maybe it's the risk versus reward. I think if you, like you've said, Dave, let's put ourselves in the psychology. If you're listening now and you're thinking about doing it, you have to think, I'm not going to earn any money if I'm not making the fees. And it's not about suddenly selling your granny down the road or doing things unethically. I like that the first word out your mouth is one that doesn't get talked about enough, and that's discipline. We all talk about motivation, we all talk about sales, and discipline and consistency, I think, are the two most important traits of a good recruiter and a good business owner.
Absolutely. We can all show up on days when we're incredibly motivated. You know, the 1st of January, we can, jump out of the blocks, but day in, day out, the job is hard. You're dealing with people, lots of people in lots of different ways. And if you aren't disciplined and showing up on the bad days, then ultimately a recruitment desk or a recruitment business won't be successful. And that work ethic, right? The best recruiters I've known over the years are very, very different human beings, but they work really, really hard. And that's not an accident that they'll build.
No, of course, I agree with you. If somebody's got all of those traits, but it hasn't worked out, have you ever seen any situation where, for whatever reason, it just has failed? Because we do need to talk about failure more. Why? What are the key things that make a business fail?
I think people need to ask for help. You haven't set up a business before, it's your first time doing it. There's loads of stuff you're going to be exposed to that you won't have been exposed to as an employee. There's loads of stuff that's going to take up your time. You'll spend lots of time. I think that the stat is something like a day a week doing stuff that isn't recruitment revenue generating. And ultimately it's really easy to get bogged down in that and think you can knock up a website or loads of brochures and your terms of business, and ultimately it probably would just be better to outsource for those stuff who could do it really quickly, pay a little bit of money, and then you're spending that time doing something that's going to generate revenue for your business. So what's really different from the sort of recruitment entrepreneur community versus sort of the recruitment industry in general, and I think this has changed over years, but people are happy to help. If you ask questions, ask your network. People want you to succeed generally. And there's loads of recruitment business owners that will be happy to give you some advice for free, and ask people's opinions. So having good people around you, whether that's a business partner, whether that's a great accountant. What we see also is people try to do too much or have too much stuff. I speak to lots of people who think they need all of this tech to be able to do their job because they've had it when they're employed.
There's nothing worse than selling to a salesperson. We're like magpies, aren't we? How
I'm the worst for it.
How many subscriptions have I got? And every now and again, I'm like, what have I subscribed to? I agree with you. That is absolutely on the money. That collaboration is one of the best things that came out of COVID from a recruitment industry point of view. I agree with you. It made me go goosebumpy when you said it, because I was like, you're right. But it used to be that everybody was a bit guarded, and now it's like competitors helping competitors out, because actually it is for the good of everybody. It's for the good of the industry.
Absolutely. And people will help. Ask for it. Ask for people's advice. And if you're doing it completely alone, have a coach, have a mentor, have someone who's you can pick their brains. So a big part of the Recruiter Labs work that we do is bringing all of those people together. They're up and down the country, all doing it for various different reasons, to scale, to just live a more flexible life, make more money, all that sort of stuff. But it can be incredibly isolating. So we do regular think tanks, we have regular socials, we get them all together at Christmas. So you have all those things that you kind of miss from being employed, but that's it. And that's why operatives like you, that's why they're hugely attractive. But I think, just to pick back up on your point of the other reason that businesses tend to fail is that we tend to, as recruiters generally, by nature, we are doers, we are proactive, we don't sit and wait for things to happen. And I think that we also have a tendency to not be the best delegators. I want to be in control. We're control freaks. We are, right? That sounds familiar. Well, it is, but that's actually what makes us really good. We're paranoid as hell, and we're control freaks. So, but if you're not, though, it's true. I mean, we're all me, Laura, and Shannon are just like the most paranoid queens on the planet. So, but I think that the flip side to that is that as a business owner, is the best use of your time, populating a database, like you say, designing a website, doing credit control, whatever it might, chasing late pays, whatever it might be. Absolutely, that you can't be everything to everybody. And sometimes it's nice to separate those relationships. You don't want to be the front end salesperson, chasing your invoices. So if you can outsource stuff, in a position to do that, then focus on stuff that's going to make you money and build your business, especially if you're looking to scale, setting up well and having the right tools, not every single tool or every single job board that's going to eat into your profit, but set yourself up well with all the right things you need to be able to scale over time.
I might call this podcast "Don't Be a Magpie." So what are the key factors that if somebody's listening now, whether it's now or in the future, you're going to press the button on this, what are the key things they should do before taking steps to set up on their own?
Have a plan. I think it's really easy, and that might sound very obvious, but it's really easy when you're starting out to need to make some money and scrap around and try and do everything, but your time is really, really limited anyway. So build a really clear plan. Like, what does it look like? What does your market look like? What are you going after? Who do you know? What is your network? Have a really clear BD strategy. You've obviously done that when you're employed. It's more important than ever to really look at the people that are going to help you to be able to build your business. Get a great accountant or someone that's going to help you to run your finances, and scale a profitable business. That there's no point growing really quickly because you think that's the right thing to do, and planning all these extra heads. Make sure you can afford these people. The head count and really fast growth is literally a vanity metric if you're not running a profitable business. So have a really clear financial plan, but be conservative. If you're a 400k a year biller, I wouldn't assume that you're going to be able to do that straight away in your first 12 months when you've got all your restrictions and things like that. So be conservative, make a good plan. Look at how you're going to live your life, because you haven't got that security.
Absolutely.
Make sure you're in a decent place with a decent run rate for 3 months and sell some retainers.
Well, all of those things, my God, but I do just want to pick up on the most important point that I think, you made loads of really important points, by the way, not least about honouring your restrictive covenants, about having cash in the bank. Not worth it. The profit metric is, to me, I see these businesses that seem to have this vanity expedition of, we've grown to this many heads, and then you go and have a look on Companies House because it's public information, and their EBITDA is like, you're like, that what are you doing? So I think that comes down to the why of why you're doing it, doesn't it? Because if you are looking to scale really quickly, then maybe that doesn't matter to you. But
it depends on how you're growing those businesses. But I promise you, no one will care how quickly you've scaled or how many people you've got if you're having to let people go and you can't pay their salaries.
House of cards, I think they call it. Well, that leads very nicely to my last question, which is there a secret sauce to scaling successfully?
It's really hard. And I guess I'm going to take this from an angle of what most of my day job is, which is hiring recruiters. As you know, that is really, really hard. And it's all around that people, right? You need the right people around you from a sort of advisory point of view, from a business partner point of view, but also from the people you hire. The first people you hire into business that are absolutely crucial. And how we've done what we've done, which is, you know, build a business to 100 heads across lots of different sectors, is focus on how we get great people, obviously, but also how we get them to hang around. There is no point attracting people to work for your business if you haven't got an environment that people don't want to stay a part of. So that focus on retention over acquisition. If you are, you know, wanting to build something to scale, I think a positive over the last few years, and maybe outside of recruitment, the sort of internal talent market is a bit challenging at the moment. It is. But in terms of recruitment firms, I think the way we perceive internal recruitment teams has really, really changed for the better. I think people are investing a lot more. I think lots more people and talent teams report straight into founders and directors, and, you know, people that are, you know, changing the business, right? And if you're out there all day, every day, talking to your competitors and the market, having that direct report into someone who runs a business is really, really important. But yeah, outsource what you're not good at, work with great people, invest in your internal teams or your rec-to-rec partners, and yeah, find the right people who align with what you're trying to do. There's loads of great billers out there that would not like to work in the environment of 11 investments, and, you know, probably wouldn't like to have them here. And it's really important to stay true. Yeah, we know what we want, we know what we're looking for, and yeah, find people that fit with what you want to do and how you're going to build it.
Definitely, and shout that bit louder about embarking with a good rec-to-rec always.
Yeah,
absolutely. There's a reason.
Really
there's so many of us. It's a very bloody hard job. Say that louder, Sarah. And I always dare anyone that thinks it's easy, because you think, I'm thinking of doing rec-to-rec. I'm like, okay, go and do it for a week.
People that work in different industries, like, I'm going to set up a rec-to-rec business. I think there's a market to do it well, and like, there's lots of people that do it really well, and it's incredibly hard if you don't know anyone.
And we all absolutely, and you can exhaust your initial contacts, and then you're like, what do I do now?
Yeah, it's
good luck, guys. Oh, I'm really pleased that you covered that off. You have been fantastic. Let me ask you before we finish, how was your first podcast recording?
Great. I felt really comfortable. I wasn't as nervous as I thought I would be.
Well, you're an absolute natural, and I'm telling you now, whoever's listening, if you run a podcast, you need to get Sarah on, because I thought you were just natural. You just chatted away, and you're really knowledgeable. And for me, there are so many different other episodes we could have off this one, because you are so knowledgeable, and you've got, I think, a very sort of a holistic and objective viewpoint of the market, like I do as a rec-to-rec. You've got so many anecdotes you can probably talk to people about, but you were very honest, and that's what I liked about it. It was a very pragmatic view. Well, let's hope, as we head into 2024, it's a year of abundance, and it's a year of opportunity, and all the external factors nobody's got any control over. Just control your own controllables, guys. That's all we can say to you. And thank you so much for joining us on the Recruitment.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You've been brilliant. Thank you.